Okay, when you guys log into Power School, you're going to see that I noted a new modified Frankenstein unit is starting tomorrow. So you'll just click on the Frankenstein tab. I'm not exactly sure what this looks like, probably something similar. We're going to start by learning about Mary Shelley. She had a fascinating life. Honestly, it was insane. Her life experiences, the losses she suffered. Her life was a soap opera. So there is a documentary that I would like you to watch. There's a link right here, so click on that. After you watch the documentary, you can go down here to the Mary Shelley PowerPoint. That also fills in maybe a few blanks about Mary Shelley's life. And then the main assignment is going to be these questions right here. Birth of a Monster, quest.docx. So if you could answer those in a typed format and upload them to Turnitin, I'll get due dates on this webpage shortly. Then I want you to learn about the real story of Frankenstein, not really the Hollywood version that you hear about all the time, where he's just this mindless monster that goes around killing people. He was not created to be that way. Humanity sort of made him that way. So to learn about the real story, first of all, the Frankenstein novel is set up with letters. An explorer named Robert Walton is trying to find a passage to the North Pole. And as he is on this journey, he's writing letters to his sister, Elizabeth. And while he is in this Arctic region, he encounters a strange man who doesn't seem to be where he belongs. So he takes this strange man on board his ship. And that's when the actual novel begins, with the life of Victor Frankenstein, the creator. A lot of times when people think of Frankenstein, we do think of the monster, but the monster actually did not have a name. Frankenstein is Victor, the creator. So you can see the letters, which just kind of summarize Robert's letters to his sister Elizabeth, and then the timeline and the nutshell summaries. The timeline goes in chronological order, and the nutshell summary goes in order by chapters, just brief overviews of what happens, very brief overviews of what happens in each chapter. So I'd like you to read through that to get a better understanding of the story that Mary Shelley actually wrote. You can also look at Expand Your Frankenstein and Frankenstein Review. These four letters, timeline, nutshell summary, actually five, Expand Your Frankenstein and Frankenstein Review. I'd like you to look those over to get a good understanding. And then what I want you to do is actually watch a Frankenstein movie adaptation. There's the original Boris Karloff. There's the Young Frankenstein parody. There's the one I typically show in class that starts out really good, but then goes off on a odd tangent with Kenneth Branagh. And then a more recent one with William Hurt. If you have another one that you want to watch and you have access to it, then by all means use that. And what I would like you to then do is create a comparison contrast journal of the real story of Frankenstein as Mary Shelley wrote it versus the Hollywood version that you watched. What seemed similar to the original story and what seemed vastly different from the original story. And there, trust me, there are a lot of differences. That journal will also be typed up and uploaded to Turnitin. And then last but not least, Frankenstein, even though it was written over 100 years ago, still has a lot of modern day relevance. So I'm going to want you to, as the final assignment for this, click on this Google Doc that I created and choose one of these three. You don't have to do all three, choose one. As a society, we have created monsters ourselves. Consider people, events, any aspect of our culture that we have allowed to grow out of hand. I jokingly put Justin Bieber. We took a YouTuber and made him into a household name. He's not really a monster, though, but there are some actual monsters out there. The coronavirus, for one, could be a man-made virus that has caused this global pandemic. So Think about that. Or you could look at the dual nature of things. We did this a little bit with Lord of the Flies, the good and the bad. With Lord of the Flies, we looked at fire. Fire can be comforting and provide a means to cook food, but fire can also be destructive. The same can be said for social networking. It allows us to socialize and reconnect, but it also can be used to manipulate and bully. So you would think about 10 things that have a dual nature in the world as you know it. Or last but not least, make connections between anything Frankenstein related and any novel you've read, life experiences you've had or read about, movies, TV, anything. For example, cloning or creating life. Scientists have discovered how to create animal clones from DNA. How far will scientific research go? Did Victor Frankenstein go too far? Will scientists go too far? So you would make 10 connections. So one of those three, monsters we've created, 10 examples, dual nature, things that have a dual nature, 10 examples, or 10 connections between the Mary Shelley novel and literature, life, movies, or TV. Okay. And that will just be submitted here as a Google Doc. Just hit send or submit at the bottom or however that's going to be set up. Okay. And I will set up the due dates. So please go on Power School to check out those due dates. And I'll also put point values on there. And if you haven't completed the short story versus short play assignments, please get those in as soon as you can. And please also notify me that you've submitted those assignments, because I do not get notifications from Turnitin when assignments are uploaded. Okay? Miss you all. And this will likely pretty much bring us to the end. I have one other creative idea to wrap up the year, but we'll talk about that later. Okay? All right. Bye, guys.